Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. Bulls playing defense successfully on the morning. The scenario that we talked about in the video yesterday ended up playing out, and I'll talk about a little trade review in terms of zooming in and seeing key short-term defense flipping into offense. Let's check out the charts. So one of the main points from the video yesterday, I highlighted how I, starting yesterday, cared more about the S&P 500 chart than the NASDAQ. Normally, I want to see the NASDAQ leading the bounce, so I care more about the NASDAQ chart. But I saw the setup where the NASDAQ was closer to breaking support than the S&P 500, and that tells us that there's a possible scenario where if the NASDAQ breaks support, that the S&P 500 could hold support, and I would have to see the S&P 500 break support in order to be looking for follow-through there. And so we had this 4-hour tightening range, and yes, that broke bearish. And the other point from the video was we have to take out multiple levels. We can't just break one support level. So this is how I had the chart drawn. We took out a support level, and we knew that we had to break this double bottom for bear follow-through. And first thing this morning when the bell rang, that's the level that we bounced off of. For SPY, that support is 406.93, and we held it. We held it by 68 cents. So bulls played defense very successfully. And again, if you look at the NASDAQ, now I'm watching this broadening wedge formation because we had a resistance break with no follow through, now a support break with no follow through. And whenever you see that happen, scout a megaphone. If you only have it in one direction, then we look for wedges. But if you have it in both directions, that's your clear indication that there is a megaphone out there. And so that's now on the NASDAQ what I'm keeping an eye on. But again, we broke support. So if I'm only tunnel vision watching the NASDAQ, I look at this and say, well, QQQ broke key daily support of 303.40 and saw zero follow through. I would have gotten faked out in a big way. But the S&P 500 helped us not get faked out. We knew the bulls must show up on the morning to hold this support level, and they did. And they followed through with a significant move, first thing, and then most importantly, the trend change for follow through. It ended up being a 15-minute higher low and higher high, but that follow through was essential for confidence that that support level could continue to hold. So where do we stand from here? We're still range bound. I've gotten a few questions about volume. Why is the volume low? The volume's low because we're range bound. That's normal. When you have declining volatility, you have declining volume. And when you have increasing volatility, you have increasing volume. So we have a double bottom at support now, 406.93, 407s a couple times. And what is the key resistance? Well, there's a few. We've got 416.61, 417.44, and then the holiday high, which is only on the futures chart, and you're not going to find it on the SPY chart. So that's a key level to be looking at. If the bulls can turn this defense into offense, we're going to look for a bull cross of these EMAs, and we're going to see weekly bounce continuation. And we will not have topped out yet. That being said, it's possible we remain tight for another few days. Look at the 4-hour time frame. If we don't break the high of yesterday, it's a 4-hour lower high. We look for 4-hour consolidation. We'll scout a 4-hour higher low. Next thing you know, all of tomorrow could go by. So we're watching for the possibility that we remain within this range for another day or two. But what the bulls really want to do is turn this defense into offense. And I have a good example of that. It happened during the short-term time frames trading today. And at this point in time, I'm going to be talking about this price action right here. I was in an IWM long through the leveraged ETF TNA, and I was in an XBI short. And I took who I was looking at for relative strength, IWM, which is leading this bounce. And then I looked at XBI, which at that point in time was showing me a little bit of relative weakness. And so I have opposing sides. And I'm going to ditch one of them, and I'm going to keep the other once I get clarity of which direction has more confidence in the short term. And I was watching QQQ and staring at it. And what stood out to me very clearly was defense turning into offense. So what do I mean by that? Look at this base of support. And we tried time and time again. So first things first, we hit it. We hit that level and we bounce. Okay, there's nothing notable about that. That level's just coming out of thin air. So now we've got it 308.13. We then pull back and hold that support level by 6 pennies. Okay, that's now making that level more important to me. We then test it a third time. And we hold that level by 6 pennies. At that point, it looks like a head and shoulders. We then hold it by 2 pennies for a fourth time. What that shows me is bulls defending that support level. They are not allowing it to break. They're buying the dips. They're ensuring that that is a higher low. And look at the turnaround. Look at what happened. We had an hour of nothing going on. Sideways, range bound, defense, 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 boom, right into offense. So what the bulls are hoping for on a longer time frame, it's going to take a while to play out. Bulls on the daily for SPY are hoping for, okay, now we got a level, defense, defense. See how many times we have to hold it, but defense turning into offense. If I'm a bear at any point in the last 6 days, today makes me very uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable because bulls defended support. And so if we're going to see this defense turn into offense, it's going to be shorts from the last week plus of trading covering, and it's going to be bulls recognizing, okay, now I have a very clear support level that is held multiple times that I can play off of. Previously, if I was going off the lows, that's way far away. This is where I look to potentially average up. So I want to make a video about averaging up. I'll try and do so, but Sweetie Pants wants to go outside. So if I'm going to average up, I want a level to play off of. And I currently have some NVDA longs, and NVDA did it as well. 181.22, we held support by 66 cents. So if I've got an initial position from back here, let's say, and I say, okay, I'll grab a little starter for a long-term position, and if the bulls prove something to me, I will add to it and average up. Well, now that we've got this support level, I can add a second position, average up, and then just stick a stop under this level for that position. If that level holds, if this base holds, I now have a larger position that will continue to benefit from bounce follow through. If that position fails, I will stop out with a very small loss, and I'll give back some of the profit from the position that I had grabbed prior. So you don't have to have the same stop level on an entire position. I can have a stop level for half a position. So that's one thing that if I'm going to average up, I want another closer level to be going off of. And that is what many names are attempting to give us on this daily time frame. So we're watching for bulls to turn it on and go to offense here. That being said, we could stay range bound for another day or two. And we'll watch to see if we pull back here and set a 4-hour higher low, it would be a little inverse head and shoulders like pattern if we then confirm the 4-hour trend change. So let's look at QQQ divided by SPY. We know we would like to see QQQ leading the bounce. Well, it's consolidated. Let's now see if we can confirm a daily trend change. If we do, that will be the first convincing daily trend change of the QQQ divided by SPY correlation chart. Again, this shows us who's stronger, who's weaker. This will show us QQQ gaining on SPY in the most significant manner since we topped out back in November. Yes, we had a big bounce back in March, that 2.5, 3-week bounce, but we never saw a clear trend change of the pairing as far as I'm concerned. And so we're trying for that shift. And so if our names break our recent highs, we ideally want to see QQQ break this recent high. I should say QQQ divided by SPY break this recent high as well. IWM is leading this bounce, interestingly enough, and it's growth. Because IWM stood out strong today, and the financial sector and the healthcare sector all morning did not at all. And growth names, let's look at some of these growth sectors. TAN, how's TAN been doing the past few weeks? Big bull move. The biotech sector, which we'll look at a bit closer in just a moment, had a big rejection yesterday, but a big recovery today. It's been back and forth. We had a very bullish Friday, a very bearish yesterday, a very bullish today. Let's check out ARKK, growth, trying to get another leg up. We held short-term support. Can the defense turn into offense? CRWD, names like this, they've been seeing bounce follow through. PLTR is still a bit weaker, but near its high. So growth names are trying to lead the bounce at this point. MSOS, again, it's extremely tight. Volatility is incoming. Keeping an eye on that. Semiconductors held support. Did we break it? 237.61. So we broke support by 40 some cents. And again, potentially a fake out Not if you're watching the S&P 500. Anything under 247.45 is just a lower high, which would keep bears in control of the short term. It would keep us range bound, essentially. But what I'm seeing right now is back tests and holds of EMA support, which again is an ideal scenario for these bulls. To back test and hold EMA support into continuation, again, it would be a great sign. So a good save by the bulls. Can it turn into offense? Tesla trying to set up a daily higher low. Low. High. Higher low. Because of the relative weakness that we've seen over the last couple of days, not today, but Friday and yesterday, in my opinion, we would see QQQ and SPY break our bounce highs before Tesla is going to be testing 793 resistance. So essentially, we can say that Tesla is extremely unlikely to break this resistance and confirm the daily trend change unless the broader market is up at the bounce highs and seeing new bounce highs. The financial sector also held support. And again, this was on the verge of confirming a daily downtrend and setting the weekly lower high. And bulls showed up and held support by 13 pennies. And now they have to turn around and go on offense. They played defense. They're defending EMA support. Can they go on offense? How many times can I say that word in this video? XLV, daily bounce is now underway. Stair-step pattern broken. Weekly higher low trying to be set. If we break the bounce high, 134.05, we're going to say that XLV is in a weekly uptrend again with a higher low and higher high. IWM, as I mentioned, is leading this bounce. Bullish engulfing candle. Higher lows. We did not come close to losing the higher lows. We are seeing the bull cross of the EMAs. 193.93 resistance approaching. I traded IWM today. My entry was after the big bull move, clear lead bull. And this 2-minute trend change is when I longed. And again, it's just waiting for the morning to play out, waiting for midday, waiting for clarity. And a lot of people talk about, midday, you don't want to overtrade. That's absolutely true. But oftentimes, there are some real good setups. And here was a triple top of resistance, pretty much a quadruple top. And this 2-minute trend change confirming, I went long because at that point, it was potentially an hourly bull flag setting a higher low. And it played out. And I just scaled out my 3 exits, exit a third, exit a second third, and at the end of the day, exit my third. But it is notable that IWM is this bounce leader. And if we look at IWM divided by SPY, which we've checked in on a few times, it's at the highest levels it's been in months. Biotech sector, key test of 72.76, trying to see bounce follow through. Another attempt to negate the weekly bear flag. It's definitely back and forth. It's just like watching a ping pong match the last few days. Hourly support established at 70.80. Very strong follow through on the bounce from the lows today. We're still keeping these higher lows. And if we get over 72.76, we're then looking at 73.14 and then 78.95. And XPI is positioned well. If the broader market bulls are able to break resistance, we're going to look for, XPI, we can blink and it can be up 10% from here if the broader market bulls are breaking to new bounce highs. BABA we checked in on yesterday for the weekly potential Adam and Eve pattern. Nice follow through today, close at the highs, highest levels that we've seen in 2 months. Bulls just need to keep those daily higher lows going. The dollar is a potential 4-hour rising wedge. So we're looking for a 4-hour higher low, anything above 101.84. The best case scenario for the broader market bulls, the metal bulls, the crypto bulls, would be for the dollar to confirm a 4-hour downtrend and set a weekly lower high very quickly. If this is a little bear flag, we will change the character of this chart for the first time in 2022, which will be very notable to us. It's on the table as possible. Watching it very closely. Metals holding on. They're not very strong, but they're holding on. So silver sideways the last couple of days, keeping the daily higher low going. Gold was weaker yesterday, but it's holding the daily higher low still. Oil, watching this broadening wedge, again, megaphone pattern, resistance break into a support break, neither have follow through. Scout the megaphone. I drew this when we were at the high of this bounce. And here we are pulling back from it. And just gives us nice visual clarity. And it's yet another resistance break with zero follow through. As far as the bigger picture, daily chart still strong. Anything above 111.20 is a daily high or low. And I will call the bulls in complete control as long as the daily high or lows remain. Energy with a big day today. Big strong close up at the highs. Stair step pattern for the bulls the last 6 days in a row. No sign of a top. We're in blue sky breakout mode for energy. So don't want to fight those bulls hard or at all. Natural gas hit new highs, not seeing a whole lot of follow through. Uranium got a news bump today. U.S. is looking to buy $4.2 billion from domestic uranium. So CCJ shot up 10% on the day. We'll see if we get continuation. The volume is certainly there. Let's see how the headline spreads. That news has only been known for an hour and a half into the close. Let's see if that news gets any attention. But big volume bull day on uranium names. And now look at CCJ. And look at the weekly. And we got tons of space for a weekly higher low to form next time we top out. So we'll be watching to see if we fail 32.49, do we get a weekly equilibrium, which would be nice because that means tightening up for a couple months, but then big volatility will be coming when that range breaks. But too soon to say if we're going to get a weekly lower high. But did trade some of that uranium breakout, got a little bit of swing position to see if we get any follow through. And the key, again, can defense turn into offense? We saw it on the 1 minute time frame, a little mini version. Again, just the ideal scenario for the bulls is do this support hold. And what stood out, the increasing bull volume was essential for the breakout into continuation. And that is what SPY bulls are hoping to see. And if we get it, the increasing bull volume is needed. And we want to see multiple green days in a row. And this will be a real good lesson video if that plays out. For a 1 minute chart giving great insight to a daily chart. All right, do good things. Hope you're well. We'll see you tomorrow.